All right. Good morning, everybody. I think it's still morning. I've had a heck of a morning. I've been blowing and going. Appreciate everybody being on today. Another week, another life in the Big 12. Um, Obviously, proud of our kids. They um, continue to work, continue to get better, continue to compete at a really high level, and just another week, another another week of great competition in our league. So got to really get ready to play a team that's always played us tough over the years. They're always prepared and well coached. Krista does a great job with them, and we'll have to play really well tomorrow night. They've got really good players. They've got we did a nice job the first time we played them defensively. Watched that watched that film again last night and came away not really thinking we played that well. Remember, we didn't have Taylor, and we were in our second conference game with Booker at point, and but we did manage to guard them pretty well. And I think Amo and Deanna Gaston had big nights for us. So we gotta play better. They're a lot better than they were, a month ago, and so we're gonna have to play a lot better. I know somebody will bring up maybe Sunday, but sometimes you just have those nights, and I don't really think about that. That's sometimes those things just happen, and so they've been obviously playing a lot better. They've got some good wins on their record, and again, I have a lot of respect and admiration for that program, for Krista and their staff. And so we're going to have to play well, but happy for our kids, really proud of Book, be player of the week and freshman of the week. As Danny has chronicled, it's first time since Celeste Taylor. And then before that, you have to go back to Brittany Griner at Baylor, if I read that right, Danny. So it's pretty good company and pretty special. But we all know, we've been watching it all year. The kid is really special, and think our team has really embraced her and her role and the responsibility that she has, and they're all doing their part to help her along. And she's just gotten more and more comfortable as the season's gone on, and I think that's evident in her play. And so we'll get ready for a tough ball game tomorrow night.
Kirk, go ahead.
Yeah, Vic, of all your rivals in the Big 12 and Southwest Conference days, is Texas Tech your least favorite?
Well, for me personally, I don't know who would rank there first. I know for Texas, you and I both know, going back into the 80s, the 70s, 80s, and 90s with Coach Conrad and Coach Sharp. I mean, they had some, Texas was so dominant for so long. Then Tech obviously had some success, and they had some real knockdown dragouts between the two. And as I've been here for 4 years, it's become evident to me, and I've been told that this is the game, this is the rivalry, and they certainly do a great job against us. They always play well against us. For us to have gone in there and played as well as we did earlier in the year, it's always been a tough place for us to play. And like I said, we guarded them pretty well. I'm not coming away from watching that film last night in my office. I didn't come out of there going, man, we really executed on offense. I think we guarded pretty well. And again, sometimes you just catch teams at different points in the season, and it worked that way. But from what I've been told, absolutely, this is probably the game between two old conference foes that over the years has had some real Donniebrooks.
And one follow-up, with the NCAA reveal, last week, did you take exception to y'all being in the 8th spot, or does that make a difference to you at this point?
It really doesn't make any difference to me right now. I want to be there in, 3 weeks. I was a little, again, we all have I think our net at the time was 3. I think it's 4 now, but I know they take that into consideration, as well. And our net is pretty good. Obviously, if there's 8 teams in that top 2, it's better than 4 other teams. But again, I'm living one day at a time, brother, 1 hour at a time right now, and just trying to get this team ready, trying to keep an edge, trying to keep certain kids focused and get certain kids focused, and you know, um, and still trying to get better. I think again, if you watch the game Saturday, you saw a team that looks like it's continuing to get better, develop some cohesiveness, some chemistry. Um, Looked like they got stronger as the game went on. All traits and characteristics of typically of my teams, but I don't take that for granted. I think there's a process and a blueprint for that, and I go through the. I tell y'all all the time. I go back every day when I write up practice. I go back to what we did on February 20th in 2023, 22, 21. I go back. I mean, I try to pay attention to what we were working on fundamentally on those days, and then you sprinkle in, okay, who we playing against and what we're going to do defensively with them.
Thanks.
Let's go to Noah. Noah, go ahead.
Hey, Vic, good morning. You talked a bit about Madison getting a bit more comfortable throughout the season. Since she had that initial burst a couple months ago against Baylor and Tech, where everyone could kind of see what she could do in that point guard role, what's been the biggest difference from her then to kind of where she is now? Is it something on the defensive end, leadership? How has she grown from taking that point guard role to who she is now?
I just think it's a comfortability and understanding her role and what I want her to do, you know. And I just think she's a lot more comfortable in that role. She understands I want her to take care of the ball. That's still a work in progress. She understands that I need her to defend. That's still a work in progress. But she also knows that I don't want her turning down her shot either. And, when she can get to her spots on the floor, she needs to be getting her shot. And she also knows I don't want her to settle. She's a big physical guard. And when she can get all the way to the rim and finish with contact, we want her to do that as well. So just understanding those things. I think she's just way more comfortable. She knows this is her role. She's really good at it. Let's face it, y'all. The kid's really good at what she's doing right now with the ball in her hands. 10 assists, shooting almost 50% from the field on the year in conference. She's not what some of these other freshmen are across the country, volume shooters. She ain't going 6 for 32. The kid is managing a team. She is understanding and executing her role at the position that she's in right now. And she is accountable and responsible. And she's doing it on the 5th ranked team in the country. So, the fact that she's doing it at such a high level, again, I think speaks well for her and really how special the kid is.
Mark?
Yeah, Vic, you have any thoughts on how the women's college basketball can sort of parlay the publicity it's getting from Clark and LSU to a degree, South Carolina, even Sabrina being in the 3-point contest, just kind of gain some momentum as a sport?
Well, again, I just think all that is so positive for the most part for our sport. And again, it shows the interest that people have across the country for our sport. And it reaffirms what I've said all along. If you'll invest in us, your return will be worth it. And so again, all those things you mentioned, again, to a degree, most of that is all positive. And, you know, you have to really respect and admire what South Carolina's done in their winning streak. You have to really respect and admire what Caitlin Clark has done in her career, and she's not done. Like, she's still got a bunch of games left, y'all. Like, I'm not sure you're ever going to catch what she's doing. Like, when she's done and the numbers are posted, I'm not sure you're ever going to catch that number. You know, people thought when Plum did it, they thought it'd be hard. I'm telling you, when Clark's done, it's going to be really, really difficult to ever approach or break her record. And so, again, you know, just talking about those two things with South Carolina's winning streak, like, they're not done. You know, Caitlin Clark, she's a long way from done. You know, Sabrina was a great player in her day at Oregon and has had a great WNBA career. Again, I think, you know, when you look at not only our game, but the people that are in charge of our game at the WBCA, at ESPN, with who the quality, I'm telling you, the quality of the people that are broadcasting our games, not only on the front line, on the court, behind the mics, but the quality that they're being produced. Again, y'all, if you'll just invest and you'll give us a chance, it's well worth it. You know, that's what happened with our program at Mississippi State. Next thing you know, we got 10,000 every night. It's what's happening here. We're getting good crowds here now. People love watching our kids play. They enjoy coming. They enjoy the game experience. They enjoy staying after and having a conversation with a young student athlete, getting their picture, having their kids get a picture and an autograph with somebody that is influencing their daughter or their son, a mentor, an idol, whatever you want to call it. Again, I just think that this is where our sport is right now, and I couldn't be more proud and honored to be a part of it. But it's taken so long and so much work and so much investment to get to here. But you're just thankful that there's people in this world that have done that. And for me, including the administrations that I've been a part of, because you don't have the success. Therefore, if you don't have the success, you don't have the opportunities. Our kids don't get the opportunities. My players don't get there. My coaches don't get the opportunities. I don't have the opportunities that I've had without it.
Thank you.
Let's go to Danny.
Vic, how would you describe or rate Taylor as a rebounder? Excuse me.
Well, she's pretty good. She's averaging over 7 a game in a really good league against some really good players. She had 13 against another really good player the other night. She's pretty active. But I think the biggest thing is she's long, at 6'3" or 4. She really has a wingspan of 6'6", if I'm not mistaken. And she catches it up and keeps it up really well. And so, I think obviously she's a pretty good rebounder. and has a pretty good nose for the ball. Again, would like for her to be a little more physical. But, you know, I think for the most part, she's obviously impacted our team in a really positive way with that. And again, she's pretty good around the rim also, you know, with her shot. And so, again, if I can ever keep the kid healthy, you know, we had her healthy all summer and early in the fall, and she was a terror until she's got hurt. And we can ever get her back and keep her healthy, I think the kid's got an unbelievable upside. So we just continue to work with her and with Deanna, you know, same deal with D. D's finally getting comfortable, y'all. And I've said, if I can get her healthy and keep everybody else healthy, this team will have a chance. And Gaston's, she's coming.
And then before her surgery, you let Rory kind of sit in her normal seat on the bench next to Elena, next to Sydney, gave her kind of other responsibilities, Coach Harmon, all that stuff. Through this whole process and what you've allowed her to do coaching wise, what do you think she's taken from that experience? How do you think that's helped her these last couple months?
Well, she's had to move to the back behind me, just so you know, because the doctor told me to put her there. He don't want anybody running into her. So we had to move her behind us after the surgery. You know, seeing her yesterday, Danny, walking, no more crutch, was really cool. You know, just another day of a small victory. And, you know, what she's learned, I don't know, Danny, she was hurt last year, remember, for 5 games to start the year. And, you know, she's probably going through some of that same stuff, you know, now that she went through back then. But the fact that she went through it back then, I think, here's the thing about her, like you don't have to have something like this happen to her for her to appreciate or respect the game. Like that kid always, that she respects and loves the game and would, and so it doesn't take something like this to happen to, you know, really make her step back and, you know, see things for what they are. She knows it. I mean, she's really you know, she's really a grounded kid and an appreciative kid, grateful. You know, but again, you have to give her parents a lot of credit. They've done an unbelievable job raising her. And so, you know, I think obviously it continues to help her keep a voice with our team. And again, she, you know, I encourage that because she has instant credibility with our players. And, you know, it's one thing to hear it from the coach every day. It's another thing to hear it from another player who you have a lot of respect and admiration for. And so I think, you know, it's this time in your rehab, she's 5 weeks now post surgery. And she's really, you know, I was talking to her yesterday. She said, I'm really sore, you know, but it's a good sore. And you celebrate the little victories along the way, the ability to completely extend your knee, the ability to do a squat and a squat rack with, you know, the bar on your shoulders, the ability to now walk without a crutch. You know, so she's doing good though, and I'm really proud of her.
Chip?
Vic, it seems every year your goal is, you know, the Final Four, if not the national championship. You've been there. Here you are back in the top 5, even without Rory. What is this a Final Four caliber team? What do you need to see for you to feel that way?
I think we've got to continue to get better in a couple areas. One, I think we've got to take better care of the ball. I think 2, we got to become a little bit better defensively. And then 3, I think our offensive execution has to really, really get better. But I certainly think you know, this team is nowhere near, you know, what they can be. I think they've achieved a lot though. And, they've excelled in a lot of ways. If I ask this incredible Hall of Fame panel here today, back on December 27th, when Rory Harmon went down, who on this panel would say on February 20th, we'd be 24-3 and ranked number 5 in the country? And it certainly might be a fair question, but what you don't ever want to put limitations on anything, and you never know what's inside the breastplate of an individual. And I think what you found out with these kids, you're finding out what's inside their breastplate. And I think it's all in how you approach things. If y'all remember in the Apollo 13 movie, if you'll remember in Mission Control in the room, they were talking about, oh my God, this is going to be the worst thing. We've lost our astronauts. This is going to be the worst thing for NASA and the United States of America. And if you'll remember, Mission Control, the guy in charge of Mission Control said, I don't think that's the case at all. I think this is going to be our finest hour. And, again, we got 2 weeks left, but to date, what these kids have done, what this team has done, what my staff has done, they have risen to the occasion, and it has become our finest hour. And nobody wants to go through it. Your heart aches. This team was built. You can go your whole career, y'all, and build a team, for a season, build for seasons, and have that team that you go, hey, this team's got a chance to win it all. And to lose a player like a Rory Harmon, the heartbeat of your team, the engine, and then to basically have open heart surgery. We basically had a quadruple bypass is what we had with our team. You got to go back and, when that happens, you've had a major heart attack. And the first thing you're trying to do is just stay alive. The second thing you're trying to do is get back. The problem is I don't have a 6-month recovery time. We had 3 days to get ready for Baylor and a Big 12 schedule. And so now what you find out is our heartbeat can still beat, and it can beat really strong. You just got to do some rewiring and got to move some valves and some arteries and some veins around like you would in a quadruple bypass heart surgery. And once you do that, you find you got a hell of a heart. And this team's got one hell of a heart.
Anything else for Coach?
Oh, Vic, is Cotty Fi, is she injured? What's her status?
Yeah, she had a personal health issue that we needed to allow her to handle and address, and so we've done that. And nothing's changed as of today, but if and when there is one, I'll make sure all you guys know firsthand. Okay.